Hello and welcome to the Shaken Up Show, the show that looks at all things Bury AFC. I'm your host, Nick, and it's 2022. Happy New Year. Is it still okay to say Happy New Year in the first? When's it not okay? At some point, this must be a cut-off date. Maybe we're a week in, so Happy New Year. I've not seen you for a while. We've not been here for a while because of all our rearranged fixtures, playing Tuesday nights and whatnot. It's quite difficult to get hold of the players, especially Tuesdays and Thursdays because of training. But we're here, we're back, and we'll be having a few shows for the next couple of months till the end of the season. So rest assured, we will be here. The Shake It Up Show is here. And what about our new opening titles for the show? They are quite snazzy. A word that's probably not been used since 1995, but I'm going to use it. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing snazzy back for 2022. Okay, just in case you've been living under a rock for the last few months, we are still unbeaten. The men's team is still unbeaten in the league. We're out the cup, but, you know, we don't need to talk about that. We'll concentrate on the league. The women's team, both the women's elite team and reserve team are top of the league, which is fantastic. Hopefully we have a fantastic season ahead of us where we are, imagine that, we all finish top of the league. That'd be great. And also, we've got a game this Saturday. Don't miss it. It is a Saturday fixture. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a Saturday fixture. It's against Ilkley Town. It's at the Newven at Radcliffe, and the kickoff is at 3 o'clock. You can buy tickets from www.buryafc.uk. You can also come down and pay on the day. Obviously, if you have a season ticket pass, you can just come down with that, just wave it to somebody and they'll scan it and you can come through. So you can pay on the gate, or you can buy a ticket from the website. We've also got a rearranged fixture against Ashton Town next Tuesday. That's the 11th. Again, tickets are available through the website. And then the following Saturday, we've only got another blooming game, and it's top of the table clash against Holker Old Boys. So Saturday, the 15th of January, it's another home fixture, 3 o'clock kickoff. Tickets available all at the same place. Or you can pay on the door, up to you. Not bothered. I tell you what, get it in advance so you know that you're definitely going. That's what I'd say. You know, plan ahead. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Yeah, that's another. Again, I'm pulling out all the slogans today. Okay. So we've got a cracking show for you. We have got a fan's favourite. He's a Welsh fella who stands in between two sticks every game. He likes to boogie. Boogie. He is the one and only Jack Atkinson. Hello, Jack. How are you, matey?
Yes, Nick. How are we? Okay.
All right. Thank you, mate. How are you? What have you been doing today? Have you been busy today or been up to anything?
Yeah. So I had some coaching sessions this morning, and then I've got one coaching session after this, and then I've got training myself with the team this evening.
What is it you do then? Tell us a little bit about your coaching. What is it you do?
So yeah, I've got obviously a range of outfielders and goalkeepers that I train 1-to-1 and 2-to-1, which is based like in the Wrexham and North Wales area, but I also cover like Chester and the Northwest in general, really. So yeah, I've got quite a big clientele base with that, and I've also got a job in Manchester in Salford where I coach an academy on a Monday and a Friday. So yeah.
So you're very, very football heavy then.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I do. And I also do a university course as well, full time.
What is it? What do you study at uni?
That's sport and exercise science, that is.
Wow. So we have got a few brainy lads in the team because when I was speaking to AO, he's at university as well.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say brainy, but, you know, we get on with it. It's probably more to do with getting the student funds, to be honest with you.
Just a bit of... So you're obviously massively into football. So just tell us, for those that don't know, a little bit about you. Where did your fascination for football start? How did you end up becoming a goalkeeper, more importantly?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, so I started playing locally. And obviously there was a keeper who was playing for our Sunday League team, didn't want to be a goalkeeper anymore. And I said I'd do it. Did really well in the game on the weekend, and it just stuck from there, really. And then from that, I only had like one season at Sunday League, maybe two. and then went into academy football. So I signed at Liverpool for 6 months when I was 9. And then I also signed for Everton when I was 9 and stayed there till I was 14. From Everton, I went to Shrewsbury till I was 18. And then I spent 6 months at Wolves under 23s, trying to get something there. Unfortunately, didn't really materialise. And then I ended up signing for Bangor, that as like a first year pro, if you'd like. Left Bangor City, went to Whitchurch, Allport, and then obviously COVID-19 happened, so the season got null and voided. Yeah. And then went over to Gibraltar to play because there was talk of that being the first professional league in Europe to get going again. Right. But it didn't even end up being, to be honest. But yeah, I played a couple of games out there, came back home for Christmas last year, and then couldn't get back out there due to the pandemic. Signed for Prestat in town. On the basis that we were going to start playing in March in Wales. Didn't happen in the second tier anyway. And then I signed for Bury in the July time. Yeah, June, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, so you've really, gosh, you've been around then, haven't you? What's been like the most, like, would you say the most important experiences for you? Was it with the big guns at Liverpool and at Everton?
It was probably. I had a good time at Everton when I was little. I also had a good time at Shrewsbury, not towards the end really, because I had an injury and operation, etc., and then led to my release basically due to me not playing many games and not really having a big influence on my performances and stuff like that. It was great to be at Wolves as well. Being with them was really good because obviously I went from Shrewsbury and almost took a step up, which was really good. Unfortunately, stuff didn't materialise there for one reason or another. And yeah, I also liked it out in Gibraltar though, because I was obviously living not by myself, but without my parents for the first time and stuff like that for like 5-6 months. So I had a lot of growing up to do, and it was really good out there. I loved it, and it's a place that I do go back to on holiday. I've been visited twice since I've left. So,
yeah. What's your ultimate aim then? Is it just to play football at the highest level you can get to, Jack?
Yeah, spot on. Exactly what you say. Yeah, hopefully try and get a professional contract. Whether it be with Bury AFC or whether it be some elsewhere.
So how old are you now? What age are you now?
So I turned 21 in November.
Oh, so you got loads of time, especially the goalkeepers as well, because some goalkeepers don't even come into the first teams until the mid-20s. So I think that for you must be quite, it must be quite something that you see and you think that's brilliant for me, because I can still see quite a path forward rather than, I think when you're an outside playing, right back or as a midfielder, once you get to like 21, it starts becoming like, well, if you've not made it by then. So does that fill you with a little bit of hope, the fact that
yeah, for sure. And not only that, obviously due to all the breaks we've had with the pandemic, etc., I've not been funny. I missed nearly a year's footy, and so did everyone else. So especially for young lads, I think people can maybe be a bit more, open-minded to, me, for example, having a year off and whatnot, or, 9 months, whatever it was, a long time. So with the pandemic.
Fab. So, what about Welsh here and AFC? What made you initially sign for Bury AFC then in the summer? What was it that drew you to the club?
So what it was, I was on trial at Chester with John and Bernard. So that came due to a trial day that I signed up for on Twitter, actually. Right. So I signed up for a trial day on Twitter, did well at the trial day. And they said, yeah, we want you to come in for pre-season. So I was like, grand, yeah, that's fine. And then they kind of made it clear that I wasn't probably going to get any game time at Chester, which I appreciated because of, the competition I was up against and how young I am and what league it is, etc. So they said, obviously, they'd be looking to loan me and they'd be looking to loan me to maybe Bury. They kind of put me in touch with the gaffer and I kind of dealt with it myself, going into training, did well at training, and then they put me in for the FC game. Obviously being my debut.
That must have been great walking out at the FC United game. So it was
yeah.
It was a great crowd on that day. And so what was that like as you first kind of, your first game for the club. How did you feel about it?
Well, the thing is, I'd never been to FC, and I didn't really know what to expect in terms of the ground, and I knew they had a big following, etc. But I went there and I was like, it was a real professional setup, almost like a league setup there, which was great. And I wasn't aware of how many were going to be there. I think it was 2,000 in the end or something like that. Even with the restriction, because there was, I'm pretty sure there was a restriction due to the pandemic at the time. So, in hindsight, if it was done now, probably there'd be in excess of 3,000 there, which wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, that was by far, the biggest crowd I played in front of. To be my debut for Bury AFC was really good. Obviously stepping out onto the pitch through the tunnel was pretty surreal. Yeah, it was great.
And obviously with FC United, they were a couple of steps up as well. I think they play in the same league as Chester, so it might have been a nice thing for you to think, well, I can compete at a higher level. So having been told at Chester that maybe you're not going to cut it, you actually had I remember the game. You had a really good game, and it was a solid performance.
Yeah. I was at fault for the first goal.
Yeah.
I sort of kicked it for their striker, and he had a good finish. But apart from that, I thought I was obviously going back to it. It couldn't have been a better start for me. And to be honest, the gaffer and Sven pulled me in the changing rooms after, and were like, "Listen, we'd like you to get you in on a permanent basis rather than you maybe signing for Chester, us loaning you, and then maybe Chester in 3-4 months' time recalling you. We need to get another keeper in." So I had the conversation with John Owen Burns to say that I'm not going to be doing the trials anymore. I'm signing for Bury, and that was it.
And were they quite cool about that? We spoke to John before anyway, because he's he's not a secret that he's a bit of a Bury fan as well, from the old club. So was he all right with it, Jono? Was he happy with it, or was he raging?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was raging or anything like that, but not words were said, but things were said, and I stuck to my guns and just said, that's what I'm doing. I'm confident in doing that. They're offering me something in stone as well with a contract, nothing non-contract and all that business. And I stuck to my guns, and that was it, really.
Do you have a lot of confidence in yourself? And do you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself as a goalkeeper? Do you have to back yourself?
For sure, yeah. As you can see, I'm having myself big time. Yeah, I'm having myself.
What kind of keeper are you? For those people that might not have seen an AFC game, or that haven't been, might just see the bits and pieces on YouTube, what kind of goalkeeper are you? Are you a loudmouth? Are you someone who shouts at defenders, or are you just kind of like quite quiet and kind of get on with you?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm quite confident and outgoing in myself anyway. I can obviously communicate to my defence quite colourfully, as many people might hear in the crowd. But what has to be done has to be done. But I don't throw criticism out much at all. I don't tend to criticise or call anyone out at all. I just talk as much as I can. And I've been taught that from a young age, and that's why I do it.
So, as an AFC player this season, I mean, you've been, a revelation to the team. A good few clean sheets. What's been your highlight so far? What would you say the best game or the best moment for you of the season so far?
One of the best ones was at FC. I know it's a shame it wasn't a competitive one, to be honest, but it was probably up there. The game against Daisy Hill we just played, I think they're the games as a keeper, and as if there was a footballing person maybe focusing on it, i.e. the gaffer or Spen, they were most pleased about that game, because I didn't have much to do in terms of taking crosses or stopping shots, but I was coming off my line clearing, my kicking was good, and I commanded my back four quite well. So even though Daisy Hill wasn't, a game that was packed full of loads of saves, it was like almost sums me up in terms of, I don't want to switch off, and I don't have to keep myself ticking over with saves. I can stay switched on for 90 minutes, even if it's just one 50-50 clearance I have to do.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, because you're the last line of defence, everything, right? It's true. Everything rides on the goalkeeper, doesn't it? A lot of the time. Sorry to put pressure on you, Jack, but that's just the way it is.
Well, that's how it is, yeah.
And even if you have nothing to do for 89 minutes, if you have something to do in that last minute of the game, you've got to do it. And if you get it wrong, it could cost the team or it could cost your mates. So I suppose that's something does that rest heavy on your shoulders at all, or do you relish it?
To be honest, with the game time that I've had this season and stuff like that, I think I've almost grown into that role in terms of not thinking about things like that. So just going out on the pitch, playing my game, being consistent with it, and not worrying about maybe making a mistake or things like that. Especially, I'm always going to go back to, and a lot of fans and the gaffer will always go back to, the Abbey Hay game, where we got beat. Whereas in my mind was a bit of a turning point in terms of, right, what can I do now to kick on from that? So, a higher starting position, more confident from crosses, and stuff like that.
Any negative,
that's it.
Into a positive.
Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, and since that game, that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, since that game, I think I've been more confident in terms of higher starting positions, coming off my line and maybe collecting crosses, And in the game since then, I don't think I've had many saves to make, which I haven't really across the season, to be perfectly honest. But I think I've affected games more with coming out for 50-50s and my kicking as well.
Yeah. Definitely. And some of those, I think, like you say, Daisy Hill, especially on a pitch like that, where you've got to, if one of their players is coming through, I think you had to come out and make a couple of clearances where it didn't even look effortless. Where some keepers you think, oh, gosh, if he comes out any further, we might be in trouble here. But I think, one in the first half where you cleared it no problem, and you like you say, that starting position, getting, and on a really boggy, horrible pitch as well. So
yeah.
Has Sven been a big help to you? Has Sven helped you at all? Has he helped you with his?
For sure. So even from the basic of turning up and being there, I'm not being funny, no disrespect to the level and whatnot, but to get a goalkeeper coach at every session and every game at this level is quite difficult, as we can see, because when I'm warming up, I can see maybe the other keeper warming the other keeper up, which has never happened with Sven. And he's been there since pre-season. And it's been I've had a really good working relationship with Sven ever since that first training session I was in. Obviously with his recording as well that he does on his page, and he sends me the recordings, and it's great of the sessions, and maybe say there's a goal that we might have been able to affect. He might send me it and say, what are your thoughts on this? And I'll give him my thoughts, and we tend to agree a lot of the time. So
is it important to have like that repertoire with your goalkeeping coach? Have you got? I don't know if you've been at other clubs where maybe your goalkeeping coach, you might not be having him, he might not be having you. Is it important to have that repertoire with the coach, and in a way that obviously gives you a bit of confidence on the pitch?
That's it, yeah, for sure. It is a massive factor when you're working, because otherwise, if you're not having him, he's not having you. It's as simple as that, really. That's how to be honest, that's how it works, yeah.
And is there a lot of interaction? You're just saying then about recordings and stuff like that. Is he constantly sending you stuff through, you analysing it, giving him a response back? It's quite a modern way of working as well, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I'll give the gaffer a ring and give Spen a ring after games, and maybe if there's a goal that goes in, or example like the Daisy Hill game, just gone on Monday. I'll speak to the gaffer, the gaffer will speak to me, what are your thoughts on that sort of thing, and we'll just elaborate and discuss. Yeah, it's a good, healthy working relationship.
Brilliant. How do you feel about the season so far then, as an unbeaten team in the league? Touch wood, because last time we said something like that. Johnny put something out, and we got beat against Abbey. So touch wood, we're an unbeaten league team. how does it feel? What's it like? What's the camaraderie like in the changing room? How do all the lads get on? Does it, what's it like from the beginning of the season to now? Has much changed, or tell us a little bit, gives an insight into what goes on in that changing room?
I'd say there is more of a bond maybe from pre-season, obviously, because we had a larger squad pre-season, and then maybe players have dropped to go somewhere else, or, players have maybe, I'm not being funny, moved abroad, like Tony Whitehead, for example. But to be honest, the camaraderie, even at the FC game, and going, I'll be honest, I didn't feel as though we had the best preseason in terms of results, but we were playing against teams that were way higher than our level. So obviously we had the FC game where we had a good result. We got beat against Squires Gate 4-2. We got beat against Rami 2-0. But, they were great tests to put us in good stead for what was going to come up in the season. We prepared right, and the camaraderie is absolutely top. And I'm only 21 and I've not been in loads of first team dressing rooms, let's say, especially due to the pandemic. But it's an absolutely top dressing room, and all the lads get on. There's not many, if any, crosswords with anyone. There's the great banter, and everything's really good. And I don't want to sound cliche about that. It's absolutely top. It's really good.
Who are your buddies in the dressing room? Is there people that you gravitate to? Maybe some of the younger lads, or does everybody just muck in and sit wherever they want? And
to be honest, there's not many cliques. There isn't many cliques at all in terms of that. You would think so, especially, I'll be honest, at the start of the season, there was a little clique between maybe the younger lads and obviously like myself, AO, Lewis, Abs, etc. But to be honest, we've all just, fizzled into one, and there's no real cliques at all. It's really good.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds like you
have. Sorry, Nick, and I get on with everyone. Literally, I couldn't really pick you one out in particular. I do speak to Gilboy a little bit. Obviously, being a Scouser, probably the one that lives closest to me, even though he's like 45 minutes from me. But
brilliant. And that's, you can see it on the pitch as well. I think from a fan's point of view, we can, there's not a lot of negativity. It's very rare that you see anybody shouting at it, and which is unusual for a football team, really, because normally there's always someone getting a bit of a rollick in and someone
arms
up, but it doesn't really appear like that as a fan.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not being funny as well. Again, no disrespect to the level, but you see it more in non-league where there's, might be some swearing or etc. between player and manager or assistant manager or people on the bench or, fans or whatever, but there's no real touch wood negative vibes at all. You're spot on with that. There's nothing.
Where does that come from then? Does that come from the manager downwards, from Welsh and how he acts with people, or is it the captain, whoever that might be on the day? Or
to be honest, I think the professionalism throughout the squad is really good, and I think the camaraderie and the interaction with the fans is a factor in it. I think as well, obviously, how well we're playing as well, and the results that we've got, and we're still unbeaten in the league, touch wood and all that. I think that's obviously played a massive factor as well, because if maybe the results weren't right on the pitch, or things were going wrong off the pitch, it would be a different story. But there's nothing really to report. It's just we're consistent with it. It's as simple as that, and that's why we're so high off the table, and that's where we are.
So it's just business as usual. You turn up on your Saturday or your Tuesday or your Sunday or whatever day it is. It's usually not a Saturday, but we are playing on Saturday this week. So that's nice that that professional environment as well, and it is. You can see it. You can see it from the fan point of view. So I can't go through this interview without talking about a family member of yours who's he's coming a bit of a AFC celebrity. You'll see him around the sides of the pitch. He's it's your dad. So describe your dad for those people will know who he is, and describe about what his relationship's like with the club and how he's enjoying it.
Tell you what, first thing that needs to be clear, someone needs to tell him or persuade him to get a bloody haircut. But he usually roams around in a Prada hat, so He's all right. But my old man, yeah, he's, you know, a lot of people say, you know, I can see where you get it from in terms of my character and whatnot. But, you know, my old man around the club, he's great. You know, the thing is with him is he loves the support that the fans give to me and the support that Spen and all the players give to me as well. At the end of the day, he likes good vibes. It's the same as me, you know, and it's the same as everyone. You know, positive energy. You know, he's going to be positive.
Yeah.
For example, you know, I've been at clubs where, you know, I'll just call them out. It was at a Bangor City. You know, it was in turmoil at the time. I was only the only Welsh player there, one of the only English speaking players there. Things weren't going right on the pitch, and he didn't want to come to games. He wouldn't come to games. Whereas, you know, at Bury, there's a real camaraderie between everyone from fans, kit man, players, staff, and even the people at Radcliffe, you know, that aren't a part of the club. Even the members at Radcliffe who are really good with us. You know, my dad loves it there, and you know, he does interact with the fans, and they interact with him because you know, he's a nice guy. Simple as that, really.
Yeah, I know. For those that don't know, we had a bunch of, should we say, reprobates that were climbing on walls at one of the games, and you know, we had a real problem with kind of people jumping over walls and stuff. And your dad just came over and just, I think he paid a couple of them in, didn't he, to come and watch the game? Just said, "Come round, I'll pay you all in."
Yeah, he just slipped them a couple of quid. I think Marcel did help him with that as well. But yeah. I think I know which group of lads he was on about as well.
It's the one that the security usually chase around at the end of the game because they've jumped on the pitch or something like that.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him, and he's always, you know, he's always got a smile on his face. He's always, and that's nice. And I think it tells the story of the club as well, and how accepting and open we are to people who come and watch us as well. You know, from outsiders, and you know, nobody is an outsider really. Anyone can come and watch.
Yeah, of course. For sure.
Sorry, Jack. What were you going to say?
No, for sure. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah.
Do you buy into that AFC ethos? Do you like the idea about, you know, the fan ownership? Do you like the idea of kind of like the volunteers? Is that something that you are, you know, that you think is a good thing in football?
I think for sure, because with it being fan owned, you know, there's more almost care there from the fans and more support. Like obviously it's their club. I've seen it with Wrexham obviously for years and years. You know, there's a real pride in where people come from, and the club they represent, and the club they go to watch. Yeah, for sure. Because as well, like you're seeing at the top level now, you know, multi-million-pound individuals taking over and almost losing touch with the fans. I think it's a prime example of Manchester United, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you've got the league in Germany, obviously Bundesliga, where you got 50% ownership from fans, has to be like, that's the minimum. And then 50% can be a business owner, but do you know what I mean? It's that sort of rule in there.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at it, and I'm a bit nerdy with videos and stuff like that. I do look at, you know, German football and sustainability and you know, the cheapness of tickets, for example.
Yeah.
Over there, you know, obviously like 20 quid for a game or 15 quid, whatever, it's 15 euro and all this. And yeah, you know, it's almost reflected at Bury in terms of fan ownership. I think if we might not be fan owned, we might not get as many fans, but because we are fan owned, you know, there's almost that sense of pride and camaraderie coming together in United and coming to watch and support us as a team, which is great.
You put it really well there, Jack, I think. Brilliant. Okay,
yeah.
So what about your heroes, your goalkeeping heroes then? If you had to name your top 3 all-time favourite goalkeepers, who would you say your heroes are in the game?
Yeah, so as a lad, I used to like Van der Sar at United. I like De Gea as well as him, yeah. And then, now I don't want to sound like, I don't know whether I can't use the language I'm going to use, but don't want to seem like I'm chumming up to anyone. But I used to watch Shay Given a lot when I was little.
Oh yeah.
And I'm only saying this now because Spen's got a little bit of a relationship with Shay Given. Now I don't just want to say, oh yeah, Shay Given because he comments on me on a save or something like that. I did used to watch Shay Given as a kid, and especially because he was a smaller keeper, and I sort of gathered from a young age, well, not from a young age, but from say 10, 11, 12, that I might not be the biggest keeper due to my parents not being absolutely giants. I kind of looked at Shay Given being only 6 foot. Well, I say only 6 foot, but yeah, being only 6 foot, probably one of the smallest keepers in the Prem at the time. So
I'm not going to lie, Jack. I actually scored a penalty in Shay Given for a sport relief event.
Really,
he's not that good, mate. Honestly, I absolutely put it past him. Not a problem. Completely did him with the eyes. So I'll share the video with you. He didn't stand a chance, mate. He didn't stand a chance. So I'd chalk Shay Given off there, and I'm joking, obviously. I think he had to save. I think he was doing a charity thing like where he had to save like 4,000 penalties, and I think I were on.
Oh, really?
I think I was like 3,998. So I think he saved enough. Great. So what about your time on? You did a bit of a stint with Lee McDevitt on telly, didn't you? With Oxlade Chamberlain. Tell us about that and how that went and how it came about and what it was like.
So yeah, how it came about was Liam basically just messaged me and just said, "Are you free on Tuesday?" Say, I think it was a Tuesday. It was, and I knew I had one-to-ones, and I knew what it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a TV appearance. So I've just gone to a couple of the parents, just said, "Listen, I'm going to have to miss Tuesday because I think I might have something else coming up," and I just left it like that. And yeah, so he sort of briefly explained what it was. He said, "Oh yeah, it's a TV appearance for Match of the Day Extra." He said, but he never mentioned any names until about a week later because he gave me a couple of weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And then when he said, it's going to be Oxlade Chamberlain, there was also a possibility as well of Foden and Sterling being there as well because what it was this, right? It was at Stockport County. They were filming an advertisement for Stat Sports, the GPS vest that we use. So they were doing an advert there, but he'd sort of booked Oxlade Chamberlain with, Match of the Day actually had booked Ox, but the other two were also there. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's going to... Yeah. But it was just Oxlade Chamberlain in the end, yeah.
What was it like then? What was the experience like of meeting him? And obviously, I think there was like a little challenge in there as well, wasn't there? So what was that like? And I think you got your answer a few of the.
Yeah. It was great, absolutely great. And to be fair to Oxlade Chamberlain, what a really nice guy he is. He did sort me out with a pair of gloves and a pair of boots, right, which I do wear. And yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. It was, yeah, that's all I can say. Obviously, to be honest, the videotape says it all. To be honest, it was great.
Fab. So, just coming to the end, Jack, what would you say your hopes for the season is going to be? So we've got about 14 games left, I think, not including some of the cup games, but we've got about 14 games left. Where do you want to be, and what do you hope that where can you see the club going?
Win the league.
Simple.
Remain. So there's that one. Remain unbeaten in the league if that is possible. Because obviously, I don't want to sound cliche again, but an invincible season would be great. And win the Manchester Cup as well.
Yeah.
And there's also a League Cup as well, isn't there? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, a bit later on in the season. I'm not too sure when that comes about, but just try and win as much as you can.
Win that as well, yeah.
Get your hands on everything.
Yeah, win it all.
Fab. It's been a great 6 months or 7 months with you, mate. And I think, all the fans really appreciate what you're doing for the club, your engagement online, and we're just really thankful that you've come to join us and that you're doing such a good job. So thanks very much. Have you got a message for anybody out there who's watching the club or towards the end of the season?
To be honest, I haven't got a message to anyone, to be perfectly honest, apart from obviously thanks to all the fans so far and everyone involved with the club. You know, from, like I say, I always say it, everyone from Marcel all the way down. You know what I mean? Everyone involved. It's been a massive push so far. And I know in the previous season as well that got null and voided, there was a massive push, you know, to get everything going. I don't know the ins and outs, obviously, because I wasn't here. But I know there was a massive push there, and everyone was gutted when the season got null and voided with Bury being top of the league. But, you know, we're back there now, and that's where we're going to stay. And, you know, just stick with us and be a part of it, because it's absolutely brilliant, and I love it. It's great.
My last question before we go, Jack, is
go on.
Which kit do you enjoy the most, the green kit or the pink kit?
The pink kit. The pink kit, best one.
Although you have won an away shirt, haven't you, for one of the games? Was it the Goalkeeper game where you ended up in the back of the net?
Yeah, I died at the game. Yeah,
you had the away shirt on, so that was quite. That was almost a bit of a surreal moment seeing you come out in an away shirt. But listen, we wish you all the best of luck till the end of the season, mate. Hopefully, we'll get a few more clean sheets, lots more wins, and you know, this time in May, you know, we might be seeing hopefully a bit of silverware.
For sure.
Cheers, Jack. Thanks very much, mate. So that's it. The first Shaken Up show of 2022 done and dusted. A big thank you there to my guest, Jack. So a quick reminder, we are at home this Saturday against Ilkley. You can buy your tickets online, or you could come down on the day and just pay on the gate. It's up to you. I don't mind. We are away to Ashton Town the following Tuesday, the 11th. And then the following Saturday, we're at home again. Another home game on a Saturday. It's Holker Old Boys. Top of the table clash. It's going to be an absolute slobber knocker. I think slobber knocker is a reasonable word to use. I don't know. But it's going to be a good game. Hopefully there won't be gale force winds, hurricanes, mist, snow, what other weather types of conditions could possibly get in our way against a team from Cumbria. Who knows? But until next time on the Shaken Up show, we'll see you soon. Goodbye.